Hello, I'm Patricia McPartland, the Director of Adult and Continuing Education at Upper Cape Tech, and I really welcome you to the show, Upper Cape Tech Presents Careers. As you know, at Upper Cape Tech, we focus on career development and workforce. We provide training for adults to get that career in the most shortest possible time possible and affordable. We're conveniently located right by the Bourne Bridge, and we have so many career opportunities that we provide in healthcare, such as nurse's aide, medical assistant, medical billing, the technical trades, such as nail tech, and culinary. We have now the culinary arts certificate and pastry art certificate. So many. There's over 200 on-site programs and over 300 online, and we have a number of computers. We have state-of-the-art facilities, including a simulated health career lab and a wonderful computer lab. So please visit us at our website, www.uppercapetech. We also have wonderful, wonderful faculty that's very used to working with adults and are out there in the career, in the world, in the topic that they're teaching. And I'm very blessed today to have a wonderful instructor of ours. He teaches computer repair and a number of computer classes. He is also a small business owner, and he's this is Gino Fernandez. It's so lovely to have you here. Thank you so much for being here. And Gino has so much talent. He's an excellent, excellent computer instructor. He's also a small business owner, and what we're going to be focusing on today's show is what it's like to be a small business owner. There's so many people out there that own businesses, and in this economy, it may be a great opportunity for folks to earn a very wonderful living. You know, the sky's the limit. You can earn as much as you want if you have the proper training. So that's why we're focusing on small business, and it's wonderful to have you here. So Gino, tell me about yourself.
Well, my name is Gino Fernandez, and I own a company called Marion Computer, which is a consultant company. And I also, I'm an instructor at Upper Cape, like you said, and enjoy doing both. I enjoy the teaching, and I enjoy the freedom that comes from being a small business owner.
Wonderful. Now, what made you go into starting your own business? What was the thought process?
I think I always had, you know, that in my spirit. I always wanted to be a small business owner, even as a young kid. When I was in my teen years, I used to listen to a lot of music, and I actually wanted to open a music store.
Oh.
And but then the internet came out, and people started downloading music on the internet instead of purchasing the albums in the stores, so album sales dropped. So at that time, I decided to shift my focus into computer repair, and I always knew that I wanted to have a computer repair business. So I believe that was the path that led me to opening my own business.
Were your parents involved in small business, or any relatives or anybody in your...
Right. My parents weren't involved in small business. My mom does, she does have, she's really good at finances, so I think maybe that's where I got a lot of that from. But I do have several uncles that are actually small business owners in the Providence area. They open businesses like coffee shops and gyms and clothing stores. So I had a chance to see their businesses open and rise.
Oh, that's wonderful. So there was some exposure. A lot of people, many Americans have the dream of owning their own business because they feel that they could be their own boss. They can make as much money or as little money as they want. When you work for an employer, their salary, you know, and you wait until you get your salary increase. But there's sort of a ceiling. But with small business, I guess you can, depending on how hard you work, there's always that myth out there that you can earn tons of money. Have you found that to be true? Or?
Yes, there's obviously there's a stronger possibility of or flexibility in that area. But there's other things things that need to be taken in consideration too, as you're making those changes. When a small business owner receives funds, that's called an owner's reimbursement. You have to watch how much money you take, because if you take too much money, then there might not be enough money for the operating expenses. So there's things to take in consideration there as well. But for the most part, you do, like say for instance, with a basic job, you kind of get an idea on, well, obviously where you start. The human resources department will say, hey, this is where we're going to start you. And you kind of get an idea for where the ceiling is at too. So, you get an idea for that. But in the business world, especially being a small business owner, you can't really just say, hey, this is what I want to make. You can guesstimate what you want to make, but there's a lot of things that are variables in that type of situation as far as salary is concerned.
So what's a typical day like for you as a small business owner?
For me, the typical day would basically be to show up at my office as early as possible, usually before the doors open, hopefully, or else there'll be a line outside. But so show up to the business probably like an hour before you usually open. And at that point, you might be doing some cleaning up, because organization is really, the key to having less stress in the workplace. But going there early would give you that time for the proper preparation. And they say proper preparation prevents poor performance. But so you would be there, and you're kind of like anticipating the day. You sit down and you think about what needs to be done during that day. You might even make a list. That's how I do it. I just write down, what really needs to happen. Like what tasks should I take on, and maybe give check your messages and give everybody a call back, just so that they know you're on board and you're there and you're ready to go. And yeah, you get your day started, and you start checking off that list as fast as possible to try to make sure that you cover as much as you can. And you interact a lot with customers, and if you have products, you interact with a lot of vendors, and you send and receive a lot of emails, and the phone calls, and open a lot of mail, and organize things as much as you can. If you have employees, then you're constantly seeing if they need any help, delegating authority, making sure that they're learning what they need to learn, make sure that you're providing a good environment for them to excel and to use their talents and skills.
So there's a lot to it. It's a lot to running a small business. You have to be a manager,
right?
Learn supervision. You have to be very mindful of finances.
Right.
You have to, in a sense, be a salesperson, know marketing to promote your business.
Right.
And I guess be also familiar with the tax laws and all that. You want to.
Right.
Yeah, it's quite a bit to it.
It is. Yeah, there's quite a bit to it.
Yeah, that's great. But what are some of the advantages? I mean, you must be pleased that you did this.
Oh yeah.
You've been in business for a while.
Well, I mean, I'd say the advantages to owning a small business, first and foremost, is the freedom. I know that it is a more, demanding situation, but usually the tasks don't need to be done right away. You have the flexibility. So if you needed to, to say take some time off, maybe to spend some time with your family or your wife, you can do that. You have the flexibility to do that. You are pretty much, as the small business owner, you're pretty much at the top as far as the company's concerned. So all of the decisions are on your shoulders. You don't have to be under management, and get permission from management in order to make your decisions. So you can actually, just make the decisions on your own, which gives you a lot more freedom as far as, as you grow. When you're young, you start to get certain subjective views. And then when you get to a position where you actually own the company, you get to use all of your previous knowledge to make your decisions, opposed to just the limit that the manager allows you to move in. So yeah, I would definitely say the freedom would be, you know, first and foremost. And you can go down the list. There's many more reasons why a small business owner, you know, it feels the reward of having his own business.
Yeah, and there's like, what is it, 40% of Americans now? Well, there's quite a few. It's a really growing field.
Well, small businesses provide 50% of the payroll out there. So, well, not most, but half of Americans out there actually are working for a small business.
And how do you define small business?
Well, it depends on the industry. So, for instance, I'd say if we want to, you know, the small business is usually 500 or less employees, and they make less than 10 million gross per year. Like I said, it depends on the industry.
Sure.
So you're considered a small business up against whoever else is in your industry.
Yeah.
But that's the generality. If you make less than $10 million, then you can't be on the stock exchange. So you can't go public. And if you have less than 500 employees, that's usually, you know, where they place you at category, you know, small business.
Yeah. But there's a lot of people out there that are self-employed.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Right, and self-employed people would be considered a small business. Even if you were alone, you would still be considered a small business owner. Yeah.
Definitely.
Right.
Definitely. Well, what advice would you give people? Suppose there's some viewers out there that are really contemplating, always had a dream to open up a coffee shop or start a business, and tailoring business or whatever. What advice would you give them?
Well, there's a lot of things that you need to take in consideration before you open a small business. Now, say most people who open a small business, they have a skill, and say they're working for a company, and they've been developing this skill, and they feel as if they want to go out and spread their wings and actually you know, take it to the next level. So they figure their skill would be enough to get them, you know, where they need to be. So the first thing they usually work on is a business plan. And they say that 50% of small businesses, you know, or 50% of the startup capital for a small business comes from a bank, and the other 50 comes from the small business owner. So I'd assume that there's going to be a lot of savings going on and a lot of planning before you get to it. But I'd say the best advice you can give to somebody an entrepreneur who is ready to open a small business or ready to start up a small business would be to look into the areas of, and these are the areas that I'm going to be teaching in the winter, look in the areas of financial accounting, marketing, management, and computer applications and information systems. And the reason why I say that is because when you first get started, you want to make sure you're asking yourself the right questions. So we can take, say for instance, we'll take accountant for instance, first. Now with accountant, this basically, financial accountant basically tells you how you're supposed to be recording your transactions. And not only that, what you're supposed to be, you know, how you're supposed to look at them. You know, say monthly, you want to look at your income statement and you want to look at your cash flow statement, and yearly you want to look at a balance sheet. So if you want to open a small business and you don't understand what that means, then that's something that eventually you're going to have to learn. But I say learn it before you get started.
Oh, absolutely, and avoid some pitfalls.
Now you can get started with an accountant, and an accountant's probably going to cost you around $200 a month, and that's okay. But you want to know how to speak the accountant's language. Accounting basically is the accounting is the language of business. So if you don't understand, you know, what these statements are, what a balance sheet is, what an income statement is, what a cash flow statement is, what an asset is, what a liability, and I mean, not just know the definitions, but just, you know, really, kind of like, you have an understanding where you can say, all right, well, I can see how if this changes, how it affects my business.
Yeah.
Marketing would be the second or the next one that I'd say that you'd have to look into, because you have a skill, which is, for instance, you're going to provide a service with your skill, or you're going to sell a product. And most people think, hey, if I have a product, if I spend $1 and sell it for $5, then I'm good. I don't have to worry about anything else. But that's marketing is basically going to allow you, when you study marketing, it's going to allow you to ask yourself the right questions that are going to place your, you'll understand where your competitors are. You'll understand about your product, exactly if your product is good enough to sell, how much you should price your product, if you're in the right place to sell your product, and so on and so forth. So as you get a grasp for marketing, you get an understanding on, exactly how to create the want, or how people, a good marketing strategy should eliminate the pushy salesman.
Oh yeah,
if you have a good marketing strategy, when you go to advertise, you will be advertising the right thing, and people will look at it and say, hey, I want that. It's not
because you did your research.
Right, you did your research, and you found out, basically marketing is find out what the people really want.
Exactly.
Don't just push something on them that they don't need.
Yeah, because people out there are very savvy.
Right.
They are.
Right, so that's that, and and the list goes on. We talked. I talked about management as one of the classes. Now, management is important too, because there's some managers out there who have the wrong idea about management. They think management is just tell people what to do, and and if they don't do what you say, then they're fired. That doesn't work.
No.
If people think it does work, it might work temporarily, but in the end, all your good people are just gonna take off.
Yeah.
Now, there is a correct way to manage, and so you definitely want to get started with the correct way to manage your employees, and you want to make sure that they have that environment that they need, so they can,
an environment that nurtures them in a sense, makes them feel
like they're being utilized, like makes them feel, like you said, makes them feel like they're part of the team, and if you don't provide that type of environment, then they're just going to want to go somewhere else and work for somebody else. But if you give them the freedom to grow and to actually think, then you can sit down with a team that could help you grow your business, and you can grow together, and you can really be friends and enjoy the work place together. And if you don't have that from the very beginning, then it takes a lot to build that trust. Then you can enjoy your job a little bit more. They can enjoy it a little bit more,
and they'll be better employees, and they're going to be out there promoting your business. Right. And if they're not happy,
then it shows. It'll show in the way that they deal with the customers, and it will show in the way that they interact with you. And that's you want to make sure that the relationship part is good, and the last class that I'm going to be offering is called it's information systems and computer applications. Now, what that entails basically is we need to keep track of certain information. For accountant, for marketing, for management, we need to keep track of, say for accountant, we need to keep track of all of our sales. We need to keep track of how much the stuff sold for, and how much you paid to get it, the costs of goods sold. We need to keep track of, the profit, and so on and so forth. So for the accountant, you actually, you have to keep track of your receipts. If you don't do it properly, then you're going to have this team that works for the IRS and the Massachusetts Department of Revenue coming down, and the audit team asking you what's going on, where are the numbers, where's everything at. So we want to, at least understand, what it's called GAAP. We want to know what the government wants. How does the government want us to keep track of our bookkeeping? Financial accountant is basically also, it's about that, and it's also about being able to look at that information and utilize that information to make decisions in your business.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, that's true. You don't want to get into any trouble with the
Right.
and it can get complicated too.
Right, and then so you're keeping track of that, and then also for marketing, you say, hey, I need to keep track of the customers' names. So we would say the work order information. Now, if a customer comes in, maybe you might want to gather their email address.
Oh, definitely.
So you can send them an email, but you might need a little bit more information, like maybe some like demographic information, like their age or something. It depends on the type of business you have, but the more information that you can gather, and you can do this right at the register, as you're talking to them, you can gather maybe their address, so that way you can send them something in the future. But the more information you gather, as far as that the marketing is concerned, then the more information you'll have to say, all right, well, what's the average age of my customer? And you'll be able to look at all of this data you gathered, and you say, who is my perfect customer? Which customer best, what is the customer that frequently comes in? If I can paint a picture of who that would be, then that's the people that most likely you're going to want to market to. So like I said, as you go down the list in the I like to call them the core business classes, the financial accounting, the marketing, the management, and the computer, the applications and information systems, you start to see how each one of these areas plays a major part in the core functionality of your business.
Yeah, that sounds fascinating. So there are 4 separate courses that you're going to be doing.
Right.
One on financial accounting.
Right.
And that will deal with everything you need from the finance, how to organize it and so forth. And then you have a management course. It's going to be dealing with how to supervise and how to inspire people so that they're working at top productivity and creating a good working environment.
Right.
And then you're going to have the computer information that will deal with the gap and then marketing, right?
In marketing,
marketing.
Yep,
yeah,
exactly.
That's wonderful. And each one of them are going to be 4 sessions, correct?
Right.
Yeah, and they're going to start in January.
Yep.
Yeah, so we will post it as we get more details, but so that's those 4 classes should get people ready to be, and avoid some of the huge, pitfalls and that, and they can, because that's many businesses fail, and those are the major reasons.
Right. So we have a lot of open commercial property in all of the surrounding communities, and so we understand that half of small businesses fail before they reach their 4th year, and I think it's I mean, nobody dreams up a business in hopes to fail. They dream up a business in hopes to fly, and information helps a little bit, actually it helps a lot,
yeah,
and
definitely.
So here we provide at Upper Cape Tech, we're going to provide a place where they can, get the lesson and take the test, opposed to get the test and then get the lesson in real life, because the test and the lesson in real life, it could end up being expensive, and that I think most small businesses fail because of they don't have the capital. But if you're making conscious business decisions, that's going to help you at least retain some capital and to watch that a little bit closely.
That's wonderful. Well, I'm so glad that you're going to be offering that, and you're going to continue, of course, with your very popular computer repair and advanced computer repair. So that's going to be, and you're going to be doing that in the fall as well. So I'm really delighted. It sounds like a really sound, wonderful opportunity for people that are contemplating a career in small business or already have a business and they want to sharpen their skills. I think it would be really excellent. I'm really delighted that you're going to be offering this, and thank you. And believe it or not, we're out of time. It's been really a delight having you, and appreciate it. I want to encourage everybody, the fall semester, the brochures are out already, so feel free to call our office and we'll be happy to send you out a brochure free of charge. We've got new paramedic is going to be coming to Upper Cape Tech, and we have a satellite and many other courses that are available. And as always, if you have any suggestions for the future programs that you would like to have us offer, please contact me. And also, if you have any interest in teaching, I'm always looking. I'm always looking to expand the program. So also contact me. I'd love to hear your suggestions. And as always, it's a pleasure being here. And thank you.
Okay, you can relax.
Doesn't it go fast?
Yeah, it does.
I can't.